Hey diary listeners, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. So last entry I would have shared with you my experience on mastering self-love. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it as yet, don't worry, I will drop it in the description below. But for this entry, I would have shared something very critical to promoting self-love, and that was boundaries. So in this entry, we're going to talk about what boundaries are, what boundaries I need to work on, what boundaries you think you need to work on. So let's get into it. So, on my journey to mastering self love, I'm still being on that journey because it is a continuous process, right? I realized that I had to protect myself in some sort of way, and I thought, well, what better way to protect myself than creating boundaries? And that was something that I struggled with because, for a bit, I sort of like, what I think that I used to people please. Like I could not say no. I was always like, you need me to be there? Okay, no problem. You need this? Okay, no problem. You want to talk about something and not even ask me how I am doing? Okay, no problem. And I was just that type of person. I've always been that type of person. And I had to reach a point in my life and be like, no more. And I had to instill boundaries, right? So for me, when you have a lack of boundaries, you have a lack of respect from others, which in turn would cause you to interact with others differently, right? Which then in turn affects how you love yourself when there's a lack of boundaries, right? Because of course you'll be thinking about yourself differently, you'll be talking about yourself differently, like your posture, your self-esteem. You'll be people pleasing, you have burnout, you're like be chaotic, that kind of thing, right? And I just had to sit down and I had to say, Aari, what are you really okay with? What are you not okay with? And those became my boundaries, right? So what is a boundary? A boundary basically is a demarcation. It is basically, setting a limit. It's rules and guidelines by which you follow when you interact with the world, right? And as a Christian, my rule book basically is the Bible, and I try my best not to go contrary to that. But there are some things that I need to work on, like my time boundary, which is one of the boundaries. So there are different types of boundaries, right? So we have physical boundaries, we have emotional and or mental boundaries, social boundaries, time boundaries, work boundaries, intellectual boundaries, spiritual boundaries, materialistic or financial boundaries, you have digital boundaries. So that's just a few of them, and some of them I grouped together. So basically, physical boundaries is, what you're okay with on your person, your privacy, what you eat, what you drink, who you are allowed to touch you on your person. That is a physical boundary. Your social boundary is basically what you are okay with when interacting with persons, certain behaviors that are acceptable to you, frequency of talking to a particular person, frequency of meeting up with a particular person to do something, right? So it depends on, it really is about interaction with others and what you are okay with, right? And in there we can put digital as well, since that is like your interaction online. Your time boundary is mainly how you manage your time, how you prioritize your time, right? What do you spend your time on, basically? And your time is very valuable. Time is a currency, right? And time is expensive. So what you okay with regarding time? Your intellectual, how you protect your reasoning, how you respect others, how you think about certain things. Then you have your emotional and mental, like what feelings are okay, what are you okay sharing with others, what thoughts and feelings do you have, like when do you want to share them, who do you want to share them with, right? You have sexual boundaries. You know, you're basically your consent to doing certain things. Contraception, right? Then we have materialistic or financial boundaries. Like, what are you okay with in terms of money, assets, clothes, whatever possessions that you may have, right? What are you okay with having? What are you okay with lending? What are you okay with giving, right? And you have to know where your limits are in that aspect, right? So I know for sure, for me, I need to work on my social boundaries. My social boundaries and my time boundaries, like where I spend my time, who do I get my time to, how I prioritize my time, how I manage my time. And regards to my social boundaries, like who do I frequently speak to, who I let in, how I interact with them, how much I could take, because sometimes, people offload on you, how much you can take, how can I effectively communicate with them what I want or what I like, and not be a people pleaser, basically, right? So I know for sure those two is what I have a issue with, and I need to work a little bit more on. What happens essentially when you don't form boundaries, I would have mentioned too before. So you have burnout, your life is chaotic, you overextend yourself, you then, start to walk on eggshells around people, you sort of like isolate in a sense, dissatisfaction, lack of respect, intrusion, people's opinions, people's thoughts, lack of privacy. Benefits of, enforcing boundaries. One, they give order to your life, structure. We know God is the ultimate person who's in control of everything, but in terms of like interacting with others and not being overwhelmed by life in general, by what you have going on, there are certain demarcations that you put in place in order to not go to that place. You know what I mean? Protection from people who just kind of violate your space, violate what you have going on, or in a sense, it helps preserve your purpose. So, how do you incorporate boundaries? Basically, you share what you're comfortable with your friends, with your spouse, with your significant other, with colleagues, with extended family members, whoever. Make sure you are honest when communicating your boundaries. State what you wish to communicate or not. In a sense that, like, what conversations are you okay with talking about? Which conversations are you not going to debate on? There's like this stigma that is attached to not debating politics or religion, right? Because those two topics are very controversial, and you just have to know basically what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, right? And hopefully gain some sort of preservation. So I hope this video was super encouraging for you, and that you are able to do some introspection as to what boundaries you need to work on in order to, better love yourself, right? So if this video was super helpful for you, hit that thumbs up, share it with a friend, drop a comment for me, and subscribe if you haven't as yet. But I'll leave it there for now, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.